Are we ready to go, Diane?
I think so.
All right. Thank you for being here this morning. Finally, some sunshine in our fair city, and we're back to you to talk to you about public safety as we indicated that we would. And let me make a few comments to get us started here, and then there are a couple of other individuals that we want to be sure to hear from. Tom Cassidy, for one, who's going to be heading up our new committee. Tom, why don't you come on up here? And Lisa Pitlick-Zillig. Where are you, Lisa? There you are. Why don't you come on up, too? Because Amanda Barker? Amanda, have we met before?
We haven't.
We haven't. How are you? From Mind Mixer.
Yes, you bet.
All right. So let's get started, and we'll bring you up to date on where we're going with this public safety issue. Obviously, this is a critical issue as far as we're concerned, and this involves, of course, making improvements to better protect our families, our homes, and our businesses. No one questions the need in this particular case. Our emergency communications radio system is 27 years old, no longer receives vendor support, and is at risk for failure. The city must find over $20 million to provide a secure communications system that will not fail during an emergency like a tornado or some kind of major snow event. In addition, emergency response times, emergency services response times are unacceptably high by our own standards for over 9,000 families in Lincoln, a number that grows virtually every day. $14 million is needed to replace 4 new stations in strategic locations across the city so that we can more quickly respond to medical emergencies, fires, and police calls. What is at issue is how we pay for the solutions to these challenges. Some believe a property tax bond approved by the voters is the best way to spread the cost among both current and future beneficiaries of our emergency response system. Others believe that a public vote to increase the sales tax is the best choice because it spreads the cost across a broader cross-section of people. Resolving the financing issue is the key to moving forward on these critical public safety needs. I'm appointing a Public Safety Finance Review Committee comprised of 13 residents and additional city staff, supported by city staff, to examine the options and to make a recommendation to the administration and to the city council on the most appropriate funding mechanism. Our Public Safety Director, Tom Cassidy, will chair the committee. Doug Emery and John Camp of the Lincoln City Council have both agreed to serve. We have asked 2 emergency radio users, Lancaster County and the Lincoln Public Schools, to provide representatives. Lancaster County Commissioner Deb Shore and LPS Finance Director Liz Standish will be those members. Deb's here today, I see. Welcome. Thank you for serving. I don't know if there's anybody else here that's on the committee. Business leaders Dick Campbell, Debbie Brim, and John Miles will contribute their expertise. Excuse me. Kathy Beecham of the Planning Commission will join the group. We will also receive input from community members Rick Carter, Tracy Sanford, and Tyler Mainquist. Mike Rogers, the city's bond counsel from Gilmore Bell, will provide legal background regarding financing options available to the city. And city staff will be on hand to lend their expertise as well. We're fortunate to have such bright and interested people who are willing to give their time to help us make this important decision, and I am very grateful for their willingness to help. The committee will not be the only citizens contributing to this process. We will be asking once again for the public's input in two ways: a Taking Charge online survey and a new forum for us for online community discussion using the MindMixer platform. The survey will address two topics. It will provide detailed background on the two proposed public safety projects, and it will ask survey takers to evaluate the possible funding strategies. In addition, survey takers will be able to offer their opinions on the importance of other community needs, such as roads and sidewalks, parks, broadband service, and others that could be financed if it were decided that an increase in the sales tax is the better funding mechanism. It's a great opportunity for City Hall and the committee to learn more about what Lincoln citizens' current thinking is on a variety of important issues. The survey is up and live today and can be reached at lincoln.ne.gov. It will run for the next 4 weeks. We are grateful to our longtime partner, the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center, for their leadership in once again developing the survey. As I mentioned, we also are very pleased to be partnering with MindMixer to unveil a new tool to encourage even greater community discussion. MindMixer is a firm with Nebraska roots that has created a way for citizens to be interactive with one another and with government online. Cities across the nation have been using MindMixer to seek input and improve services and check the community pulse on a variety of issues. We've used MindMixer for specific city projects in the past, but we are now expanding our use to make it available to citizens on an ongoing basis. Our site is called Open Lincoln. Open is short for Online Public Engagement Network. We are kicking off this effort by asking residents to weigh in on public safety projects and on other community infrastructure needs. As you take the survey at lincoln.ne.gov, you will be invited to join the online discussion at Open Lincoln. You can also go directly to Open Lincoln at lincoln.mindmixer.com. Increasing public involvement in City Hall's decision-making, as we already know, leads to broader consensus and better results. It's why we are appointing 13 citizens to make a recommendation on the public safety financing options. It's why my administration started the Taking Charge public engagement process in the first place, and it's why we're expanding participation through Open Lincoln. Public participation is more important than ever as we face the challenge of how to maintain Lincoln as a safe community in the future. It's a big decision that could involve deep cuts to city programs or a voter-improved increase in taxes. So I encourage everyone to make your voice heard and to be part of the solution. Now I'd like to introduce Tom Cassidy, the Public Safety Director, who again is leading our committee to discuss committee timelines and his plan for committee meetings.
Thank you, Mayor. In addition to Deb Shore, who's here, Tyler Manquist, another member of the committee, is also here. I really appreciate the fact that 13 citizens who are all very busy people have agreed to give their time to help us study this issue and come up with some recommendations for the mayor and our elected officials. My pledge to you is I'll try to keep the meetings short and effective. I'm planning on 7 meetings between now and the end of the year. We have time for an 8th meeting if we need it. So we'll be moving along pretty swiftly, and hopefully we'll keep those meetings to the 1.5 to 2 hour range. Our first meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, and our second meeting is scheduled for October 23rd. Hopefully one of the things we'll accomplish tomorrow is to get the other dates settled. As you can imagine, when you've got a committee of 13 pretty busy people, finding the times and dates that work for the largest number of people is pretty important. I have a tentative map out of topics that we'll try to cover at each of those meetings. However, that's largely up to the committee process, whether that holds up or not. First thing that I'd really like to do in the first two meetings is to get everyone up to speed on these two public safety proposals, so that everyone has a common understanding of why these things have been identified as needs in the city's capital improvement program, and determine whether we've got consensus on the committee that these are proposals that are worth moving forward. After that, we'll spend the next few meetings on the financing options. And the mayor mentioned two of those financing options, a general obligation bond and sales tax. We'll probably discuss at least a couple of other options that are out there of third-party financing and vendor financing. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope that we're able to come back to you, Mayor, before the end of the year with solid recommendations and a consensus from the committee on our recommendations for moving forward, and appreciate the opportunity to lead this effort. Thank you.
Lisa, why don't you bring them up to date on what you've been doing for us?
Great, thank you.
The public policy center.
That's right. Well, as usual, we have the Taking Charge survey. It requires, as Mayor Beutler mentioned, we're doing a couple of things this year. One is linking the survey to MindMixer, which Amanda will discuss. The survey itself, though, will be familiar to the thousands of you who have taken it in the past. It doesn't require any registration. Anyone can go and fill it out. It's completely anonymous. Justin will page through. There'll be just a couple of pages of, typical consent language, letter from the mayor. Then the first part, there's 3 parts of the survey corresponding to the 2 things that Mayor Beutler mentioned. One is just a little bit of background about the radio system and the fire relocation. And a third part. So one thing that we've done in this survey a little bit different than the past is we've embedded opportunities for quiz questions. You can skip those, and I'll ask Justin actually to go ahead and skip them. There's, as this one mentions, there's first 2 ways that you can quiz yourself about the safety needs, and then later in the survey there'll be 5 questions that you can use to quiz yourself about the sales tax. But you can skip those and go straight to the information if you want. Then the first part of the survey is just to let us know, let the city know if you agree that these are important areas. We expect that most people probably do. In every one of our past 5 or however many Taking Charge surveys, people have always ranked safety and security as #1 importance, but this gives you a chance to weigh in on how important you feel the radio system and the fire relocation is. The next part of the survey, and you can skip the test your knowledge part, Justin, relates specifically to the funding options. So the 3 main funding options that the city is considering are budget cuts, sales tax, and property tax. So we've provided some additional information for you to read about those, working with the city on trying to understand the issues involved with those. And you can weigh in terms of which one of those options you want. And you'll notice that we also have open-ended text boxes as usual, because we'd really like to know why you think what you think. The last part of the survey has to do with the programs that could be affected by any of these choices. So if the sales tax is raised, then there's funding available for other programs in need, and budget cuts, of course, always involve a number of programs. One of the things that you'll see throughout the survey are these links to MindMixer. So in addition to our open-ended text boxes where you can weigh in, and we will once again summarize and provide a listing of these for the city from this particular anonymous survey, you can also engage in discussion with your friends and neighbors and so on. And that's probably a good point to turn it over to Amanda so that she can tell you more about the discussion.
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me, Mayor Beutler and staff. I'm on the community development team with MindMixer, which means for the past couple of months I've been working with the mayor and his staff on developing the perfect forum for a constructive community conversation. At MindMixer, we believe that people care about their community. It's just a matter of getting them involved in a way that makes sense and is convenient in our collective busy lives. So if you are waiting in line at any point, pull out your smartphone. If you're on the couch in the evening watching TV during a commercial break, pull up your laptop and weigh in on the community conversation. So to give you an overview, it's very much in parallel with the survey that the UNL Public Policy Center has put forth for us. So we start with the survey kind of the public needs and what the safety issues are and how of relative importance is it to you. And so there's the first public safety needs survey. It gives you the same background that it does on the Qualtrics survey. Scrolling down, we have then a couple questions about the funding options. In your mind, as a citizen of Lincoln, what would be the best funding source for this? And then scrolling down again further, you'll see a kind of a background on what sales tax topics to discuss. And then finally, it focuses on those areas of need. And this is where the real discussion can happen. So you can vote for your relative importance that you would place on that particular area of need. And then in the comment section, you can engage, as Lisa and others have said, in the discussion format of that. So MindMixer is designed to really, again, have this constructive community conversation, allow your voice as a Lincoln resident to be heard. If you have any questions about the platforms or difficulties, you can always reach out to myself, the mayor's office, or there's always our support desk, support@mindmixer.com. When you scroll over to to the activity tab there, this allows you to kind of filter in a news feed format what the latest ideas are. So if you've already contributed your ideas and your votes on these issues, but then you want to come back and re-engage with your fellow neighbors or friends, you can always go to that activity tab and see what the newest ideas are that have been posted on the platform. And or the most popular or highest rated ideas. Because on the MindMixer platform, again, you can rate a specific idea as a great idea, maybe you're more neutral towards it, that sort of thing. So you can really indicate to the mayor what kind of support you would give a particular idea. And then finally, if you want to know more about what the mayor's office is saying about this project and this site, you can always go to the About tab. So congratulations. We really commend Mayor Beutler and his staff for embracing this opportunity to connect with Lincoln residents. And I say that both as a representative of MindMixer and also as a Lincoln citizen. I'm really excited about this. So thanks very much.
Okay, this will be a fun new adventure. Questions? Why don't you all come back up? I'm sure there will be questions related to all these different aspects.
Could you explain, survey participants also be able to offer opinions on the importance of other community needs that could be financed if the community decides a sales tax increase is the best funding mechanism? Would it be used for other things other than this as well?
Pardon me?
Would it be used for other projects? Could it be used for other projects other than safety if you did a sales tax increase?
Could it be for projects?
Other projects other than this?
Beyond public safety?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to anticipate what the committee is going to say, but certainly one possibility is that they would direct us back to the sales tax again. And that, as I'm understanding the process, would be the end of the committee's work. But if we were directed back to the sales tax, then there would be another extended conversation about not the financing mechanism, but the subject matter included within that mechanism. Because as you know, there are a whole series of questions related to the sales tax, including the amount and the number of years. That is a more complicated discussion and would take place secondarily to this committee's work under the processes that we're discussing. Did you want to add anything to that, Tom?
No, I think that's what I would have said.
Yeah.
If the recommendation is either the bond or the sales tax, are you thinking about putting it on the spring ballot?
Yes.
And then I had a question for the public policy folks. How do you, what if a group wants to get on and influence the survey by having their members do it over and over, or recruiting members to, play the survey a certain way?
Well, we strongly encourage recruitment. We'd like to hear from as many voices as possible. So to the extent that people want to recruit family, friends, members from their social networks, that's what the survey's about. The survey's really about trying to open up so that there's more opportunity for people to give input than just attending a meeting at the city, which might be hard for people. We do not encourage playing the survey in terms of like repeated taking of the survey and so on. Our hope is that people will respect the purpose of the survey and use it as it's intended to give their voice once. And if they have more and more to say, opening up Mind Mixer was part of what we hope they do, is go there and say it and talk and discuss with others. What we do from our standpoint is we watch. We watch and we do the analyses more than one way. So we look to see when influxes of people come in, usually day one is when the biggest influx comes in. Sometimes we can see other little spikes as things happen in the community. And then we hone in and look what happens to the decisions or to the public's voice if you, for example, take out repeated IP addresses. So if somebody's going to their computer and taking it over and over again, do we get a different answer if we take out repeated IP addresses versus putting them in? The fact is we don't like to take them out, because people who use libraries or shared computers because they only have one, we want to count everybody's voices. But nonetheless, we can look at it both ways and see if the story changes and use that to inform our decisions. And so far, every year that we've done that, we've gotten the same, like no statistically significant differences in terms of what the public says.
But you wouldn't be able to, say, identify if, say, a particular union were having all their members do it if they did it on their home computers, right? I mean, it could be a saturated response to something that wouldn't really reflect an overall community viewpoint. Is that a possibility?
It's possible, but we also ask people if they would be so kind as to let us know their demographics so that we can kind of get a sense for how we know that the survey will never be entirely representative of Lincoln, but at least we can get a sense of whose views are we hearing and whose views are we missing. So, and some people choose not to do that, but I would say it's only about 10% who choose not to do the demographics usually.
Sometimes I think we stray towards throwing out the much better in favor of because we don't have the perfect. And think of it in terms of where we've been on all of this. Where we've been for decades and decades in the past was relying upon a few citizens to slog their way down to a city council meeting and sit there for a long, long period of time while other people testified and, finally get up and say their piece. But that process, even in the most heated situations, evokes a few dozen, maybe in a rare occasion, a few hundred inputs. What we're getting here are several thousand.